Hey guys, Rusty here, and just letting you know the Precision Shooting Podcast Awards for 2020, the Golden Yeats, has been scheduled for a live stream on the 9th of December. Check out various social channels for exact details and times, but lock that one in and we will be live and be doing that show with all your nominations and votes and whatever else happens. Look forward to it.
You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty, and joining me tonight, Andy, how are you?
What's up?
All right, and we're done. No, that's not the
There
ending.
we go.
Yeah, okay, good. Bronte, how are you, mate?
Yeah.
Are you early 90s or late 90s excited as well?
Oh, nah.
It's early 2000s, isn't it?
I'm just normal excited.
here.
Yeah.
That's normal excited voice.
That's normal excited for Bronte.
Normal excited voice, yeah. Don't want to get it too much away.
Play that close to your heart. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. All right.
I could have sworn his voice got a lot higher when he was talking about gears one time and cogs or something.
Yeah, but that was super excited. That's like pretty cool stuff.
Do you know why? Because he got to spend money on equipment and
Yeah, got to spend like 4 times as much to buy the equipment to make something that it would have been just pay someone to make it.
it
But
would have been more
anyway.
than that. I'm sure it would have been more than
Yeah, but 4 times I feel okay about it. 10 times it's like
that.
ugh.
40 times.
Yeah, you feel guilty then.
Fantastic.
Nobody likes feeling guilty.
Well, speaking of guilty, I've got no segue to go on with. Damn it! I was hoping something would come to mind when I loaded that up, and I failed miserably. So, what's up to you, Andy? Take it from here, mate. You're now hosting.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go.
Let's not do that again.
Guys, I hope you're all well. Nominations are coming in for the Golden Yeats.
Yep.
The Golden Yeats. So, little reminder, there's a bunch of categories. You can jump onto the precisionshootingpodcast.com on the website or impactdynamics.com.au and you can nominate and vote, depending which one it is. Go through there and you can do Rifle Innovation of the Year, Optical Innovation of the Year. Actually, I'm going to say the title of the category, and Andy, I need you to do like a 3 or 4 second little explanation of what it is. You ready? Ready? Here we go. All right, and if you get it right, you get a ding. No, it's not a ding. I don't know where the dings have gone. Ding. We've now invested too heavily into this concept. Oh, actually, Bronte, you can decide whether or not it's good enough.
the button
Here we go. You can
Yeah,
be
but
the button
regardless,
pusher.
it's going to be that.
Okay, very good. All right, Rifle Innovation of the Year.
Rifle, anything.
It's too slow.
Timed out.
What? What'd you say? 3 seconds? You're right.
Okay, all right. You've got 10 seconds. Rifle Innovation of the Year.
Anything critical to a rifle performing. What?
It's like the innovation that's come out in this year that you know, yeah, okay, good. Well, let's move on. Optical Innovation of the Year.
Something that is come out this year
Yep, good.
that is to do with optical equipment
Okay.
or accessories.
Yeah, I think we'll see what Bronte goes with. Okay, a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Okay, what about Accessory Innovation of the Year?
Or anything that attaches to or bolts onto a rifle or other equipment, excluding optics. Huh?
really,
You didn't
'cause
really
it's-
touch on the innovation part, but
Yeah,
okay,
it's
yeah,
like
good.
there's the key word that's been in all 3 categories that you haven't talked about.
Innovation.
You know,
Yeah.
fail him on that. Fail him on that. All right, let's move on to the one that doesn't have innovation on it. Is podcast / page / video channel / media / social media / influencer / of the year.
Yeah, so
Wait, not / of the year. That was Andy definitely won that one 2
right, here we
weeks
go.
ago.
Any
Anyway, sorry.
innovative social media platform that is putting content out there.
No, you put,
God, need
you
to
put
be innovative.
innovative in there.
I know,
and it's-
I did that on purpose.
No, but it's
Just
not in the
Just
title.
to throw it.
All right, non-game changer of the year. How do you go with this one?
Me. Yes.
Well,
So
he's right, yeah.
something has been hyped
You've already
up.
got the tick, mate. You good.
Okay, move on. Episode title of the year.
So anything from the Precision Shooting Podcast titles, pretty well.
You
Episode
got
titles.
one.
Yay.
You got one.
No, you got the last one about the non-game.
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
he
you
just
did
said himself. So.
Shooting meme of the year.
Well-
That's probably pretty explanatory.
Yep.
Yeah, good. The best innovation we've seen due to COVID in the shooting world.
So any positive outcome that has been related to COVID, shooting-wise? Oh, whatever. Oh, jeez. This is tough crowd.
Don't give me control of the buttons if you want to argue with it.
Just a little bit of clarification around that one because it is a new category for us. That is sort of like something that has come out, has been sort of developed because COVID. You know, where stuff's gone online or shooting comps or something like that. Something that has embraced that because there's a little bit of crossover with the next one, which is the silver lining COVID outcome, which is, Andy?
So the silver lining COVID outcome is something that has aspired from a lesser positive outcome due to COVID.
Sure.
No? Nah. I don't know. It's
like
It's something good that's come out of a shit situation.
like a yin-yang.
Yeah, it's closer.
Give him a tick. Yeah. Something where maybe you lost your job or there was no matches on, but because of that, something benefited. That's probably more on a personal level, whereas the other one is a little bit bigger. Anyway, so that's...
You've got the time and money to spend on a new setup.
There you go. Excellent. So that is the Golden Utes.
Talk about put on the spot.
That's right. Best impromptu moment on the podcast. Yes, and yippee! Yes, and he wins that one. All right, brilliant. So that is the Golden Utes. Jump on the website, vote for that, and put your nominations in, and that will be sometime late November, early December. It'll be in the future. I guess is how these things work, isn't it?
Be on the interweb in the future.
Yeah, good. I think that's...
You beat me to it. I was thinking about it.
I failed miserably. I probably deserve to. All right. Very good. What else has been going on, gentlemen? Anything exciting to discuss? Or are we going to just go straight into reloading? Oh, Andy's got something.
So I am dropping off my rifle to APRS.
Oh.
To get the new barrel caliber change.
You actually done. I thought you dropped it off and we were just... Anyway, okay, good. I'm
still figuring out what I'm getting.
You were waiting on the details of it. Okay, so all those people that entered the competition like 14 years ago will eventually have an answer for you. Okay.
Yeah, I still don't know. They've got it. They've got it. Yep.
So in coming days, potentially, or weeks, or sometime soon, at some point in the future, like our next episode, also we'll have an answer for your...
I reckon for the next episode, I'll have an answer.
There you go.
And I will most likely be poorer. Or actually better off because I'm working away.
Yeah, living away from home allowance is awesome, isn't it?
All right, let's move back on. So I showed you, gentlemen, the shed, the empty shed, or empty. No, it's not empty at all. It's got heaps of rubbish in it.
The canvas,
the blank canvas that is going to become the. I'm not going to say the ultimate reloading room, but certainly
it'll be up there.
The dedicated room, gun room, reloading, and then not much else. That's really the point. And dry fire. There's going to be big focus around a dry fire sort of scenario in areas. So. That is it. I think we have given a bit of a brief overview and certainly done some videos on it, and those who have been watching the channel will see how it's developed over time. But the crux of it is that on one side there's some storage and heaps of racking, and then also some area for a barricade or two to sit there and be able to use them to do some dry firing. And then the other side is basically all benches, and those benches will have different purposes and bits and pieces. But we have the master here of knowing things about stuff.
No. The master of pretending to know things about stuff. You don't actually have to know anything. You just have to sound semi-convincing.
No, Andy's been here.
Oh, true, yeah.
Thanks.
But we've often come to Bronte with reloading questions and when we've seen products and bits and pieces and all sorts of stuff. And there's some things that, Bronte, you've often brought up that we haven't considered previously. So I'd love some input both from our listeners, but also from you tonight, from Andy as well with his setup and the stuff that leaves his shortcomings. Because as I have put out there in a video, I probably haven't reloaded around for 3 years or possibly more. And so I'm sure many of the things will come back to me, but there are a lot of lessons that, by doing it on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis or having a layout where you look at it and you're like, oh, yeah, I hate the fact that it's laid out like that or whatever it might be. And I'm missing a whole stack of that because I haven't been so active in doing it. So starting afresh, I'm like, oh, yeah, I could just, I know what I need. Of course, I know the gear and all that sort of stuff. And I go throw that in benches and keep my powder on one bench and my presses on another bench and little things like that. Lessons I do remember, and then I will hit all sorts of issues and challenges and stuff, which I'm sure will come anyway, but I'm just trying to avoid as many as I can. So, Bronte, you just had a look at the room. Rip it apart. Tell me what I should actually be doing.
I think you've got a really, really good starting point, to be perfectly honest. The one thing that you can't ever have enough of is benches, right?
Yep.
Bench space. You find a way to accumulate stuff to fill it up. It just happens, right?
Very quickly.
So, the more the better. So bench space, and then probably, the thing that's really helpful with bench space is having some drawers or some storage in close proximity to it. So,
there will be about 5.4 meters of bench top.
Yeah, so that's
lengthwise.
That's pretty damn good. That's awesome bench space. That's very, very jealous.
I reckon I've got about a metre.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, that's jealous.
Yeah. I mean, you say yes, like that is heaps of bench space, but you guys know as good as anyone that you can have all the bench space in the world. You could have 15 meters, and if you don't utilize that bench space effectively, you may as well have no bench space.
That's right. If it's just full of junk, then you can't. You got a little patch about 200 by 200 free. It's not very good for you. But obviously, as you've touched on before, the separation between your presses and bits and pieces becomes more important if you're trying to throw powder while you're
seeding projectiles,
or resizing cases or whatever you may be doing on that sort of thing. That's always a pretty handy one.
Yep. So just to give you a breakdown, so that's the 5.4 meters comes on 3 benches of about 1.8. Lengthwise, I could be slightly over or slightly under on some of those, but and my thought is that 2/3 of that bench space will be based around reloading, and 1/3 will be like an area to put a gun in to be able to mount a scope or work on or take chassis off or anything along those lines. So so one dedicated to that and cleaning, and then 2 dedicated to reloading, and because there's not, I mean, I guess that maintenance can do a little bit of sort of home stuff, but I'm pretty useless at all that, using power tools or anything along those lines. I think most power tools have a restraining order against me, so I generally will stay away from them as best as possible. So I do limited handy type work, which is probably why one side of it's got oil drained down.
It did notice the speed stripes.
I'll change my oil. I know how to do that, and then I'm like, I don't know where to take it though. I should look that up. And no, I need to. Like, I'm taking it somewhere this week, but probably should have worked that out 3 years ago. Anyway, that's the way. So what I'm looking for is like a clean, good setup. Now, you mentioned you looked in there and you're like, you should, I can't remember what you said, do something to your floor, epoxy your floor.
Oh, yeah, it's a prime candidate for it to, epoxy your floor. Then you get a nice, clean, sealed surface.
Yep.
Easy to keep clean, easy to tidy. Yeah, it looks pretty schmicky.
Yeah, okay. Because it's a just concrete floor.
It's just concrete floor. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but you can do,
And what is it, clear epoxy, is it? Or is it
No, you'd go like
pink?
Tiger stripes or something, I don't know. It's like super cheap order, and some of like the automotive stores sell it.
Yeah, right.
As well. But it's basically, just for a floor treatment to seal everything in. Great from a dust standpoint. And looks nice as well.
Yeah, well, if I'm gonna make that decision, I've got to make that decision soon because, but I'd have to clean out the entire shed in one go, wouldn't I? And then do it, or can you sort of do half? And it probably wouldn't.
Probably could do half, but it'd be better if you do it all in one go. But
yeah, okay, I'll have to think about that.
My work's currently because I've shifted work recently.
Yep.
It does deal with a bit of oil and hydraulics. Yep. So speaking of which, I do have a spot to take your oil if I knew about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, their workshop completely covered the floor in epoxy, and for oil, the industry I'm in, it's perfect. You just wipe up the oil and sweep up.
Well, maybe I shall be looking at that. Is it a difficult thing for an idiot to do?
I don't know. I haven't done it before.
Let us know.
All right, stay tuned. We're into the.
What I can tell you is it does stink. Epoxies are pretty fragrant.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, you want to let it air out pretty well, but yeah.
A kit stand. Okay, this is $200 for a kit, and it's a standard double garage. Now mine is not that big, but it's not tiny. So this would easily do mine.
It should cover you, yeah.
For $200. Far out. If anyone's listening and knows how to do one and wants another $200 I don't know what it costed to do that. So, there's some photos here from people who've done it. All right, man, I'm sold.
Just looks nice and clean, right? And
one of the issues about this shed is it's not flat on the floor. Like it fades away on one side, and we get all the runoff down that one side, and so this would probably be able to level that out.
No, this is only just a paint. You'd want to do like a self-level.
Oh, never mind. Forget all of that.
This is just a paint. This doesn't this isn't going to solve the world's problems, but it's basically you just put a skim coat or a self-leveler down first.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask more questions. Self-leveler is like something.
It's like really running concrete.
Okay.
Well,
now we're starting to. Yeah, I can see this going really poorly. If I could probably paint the floor. That's probably within my capabilities. Okay. Yeah, no. Now I can see how you could probably do half by painting the floor, and then do the other half is probably reasonable. All right. All right. One epoxy garage coming.
All aspects.
But that's no reloading benefit. That is no.
No, it just keeps everything nice and clean.
Right.
Obviously you talked about your run out with your leakage around your door and stuff. If that's something that could easily be fixed, and that's probably something worth just to keep the space clean, right? Keep the dust out so you don't nothing's covered in a layer of dust every time you go in there. Obviously, you touched on your fluoros before.
Yeah, so years ago, a mate of mine put fluoros down one side, and they're not in the centre. They're off side, so they're basically above where you would work on a bench. So they're in the perfect spot, but they're fluoros. And as you've talked about previously, in a reloading environment, fluoros can mess with your scales.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't matter whether they're strain gauges or whether they're whatever the other one is.
It's
restoration, something to do with the force.
Magnetic force.
Yeah, the Darth
restoration.
Vader scales.
So I'm sure all the electrical engineers will tell me all the things I'm getting wrong. But effectively, fluoros have capacitors in there, so you can get a capacitance load build up and some leakage onto your neutral, and does bad things for sensitive electronic equipment. It's not necessarily. I feel like there was enough that we could blow them up, but it's basically a dirty power and harmonics in your power and other sorts of things like that can
Speaking
mess
of
with.
sensitive electronic equipment, you haven't got fluoros in your bedroom, do you?
What? Oh. Only sometimes.
Only when you want dirty power.
But I do have fluoros all in my office where I reload.
And plenty of people do, and they get away.
So swapping out to like LED battens, would that work?
Not willing to definitively say yes or no, but I would think that it wouldn't hurt. I would have thought it'd be better.
And is that swapping out the actual battens or just the tubes?
So
I reckon you can get tube replacements.
Correct. You get the tube replacements that get rid of the starter, because it's the starter that's got the capacitor in it that causes all the problems.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So if I change them over, because I just put in the projector warehouse, scoped out warehouse, I put in fluoros in there, but they're not fluoros. They're what we call fluoros, but they're LEDs.
Lights.
Batten lights, yeah, LED batten lights. And they were very easy to put in, extremely easy to put in. So, yeah, and not overly expensive. I think they're about $75 for a thing. And apparently I can turn them on with my phone, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. Yeah, a switch does seem easier in a small little storage area.
yeah,
which is right at the door when you walk in. So as being like, oh yeah, that's right, turn the lights on, I've got to get my phone out.
But with lights, one of the things that I try not to have in my workplace and when I'm reloading is it's too many shadows or like one dominant shadow. So I know your lights are above your workbench, but if you're leaning over or standing at your workbench, if that's going to cast a massive shadow where you're working.
I have found obviously I've had these lights in for a long time. I've had benches there. That hasn't been an issue. They're offset enough. They actually sit more over the bench than they do over. Cool. Yeah, they just sort of sit in front of you. And then I've got I've got one of the benches has the cabinets above it, and then I've got some other portable cabinets that I'll put in, and I would run strip lighting underneath that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So
nice.
There will be plenty of light, but I think all right. So fluoro's going to LEDs. Will be another changeover. Now, one other thing I wanted to ask you about UPS for
get one.
scales.
Yep. Yeah, I have tested it myself, and I think Plushy did some testing as well.
Yep.
And everybody that I know that's tested it has actually had a noticeable.
And that's across
difference.
strain gauges
Everything.
or Darth
It helped
Vader
everything.
gauges.
Yeah. From my experience, it helped everything. Yeah.
Well, in that case, leave your dirty fluoros up and get a UPS.
Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah.
I wish we could GIF right now, but anyway. Okay. You're all thinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do both. And I've just got like one of the cheap ones from Officeworks.
Well, that's
it was
you're not
$80 or $90.
You're not
It's
buying
not.
it to keep on things running. You're not
Correct.
actually using it for that. You're using it to.
It's basically a power filter. It's a cheap power filter.
You can basically go as cheap as you sensibly can go, and you're not worried about it lasting for 4 hours when power goes out when you got in the match the next day. Actually, thinking about it, maybe I will go for a reasonable one just in case.
Yeah, scales don't use that much power though.
Yeah,
but-
true.
And you're going to be doing it in the dark anyway.
I don't know. I've got a light on my phone.
Head torch.
Head torch. Lighting by head torch.
Oh, that'd be awesome. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. Okay, so UPS, epoxy on the floor, that's not related, and then LED battens is some good changes. And so we talked briefly about separating out some of the things across the two different benches. So if you've got two benches to set up all your reloading equipment through, what's going on what? Is it purely just powder on one and everything else on the other? Or is there a fairly definitive split that you guys would choose if you had the option?
I'd separate it a little bit by dirty processes and clean processes. So if your cleaning process or your trimming and deburring and all of that sort of stuff is on one bench,
Yep.
then you could probably have your press on that bench as well, and then have your clean stuff, so your powder throwing or powder and your powder charging or whatever on the other one.
Yep.
Just to try and separate the two.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably about all I'd do.
Yeah, right. Bronte, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do mine set up a little different in respect that I don't really ever deal with dirty cases because I deprime them with a hand deprimer so they don't actually go dirty into the dies.
Yep.
And then I stainless clean them first. So they're effectively, for all intents and purposes, they're clean before I've actually
Started with them.
started
What
with
about
them.
trimming? Have you do anything with trimming?
Yeah, but that's sort of brass.
It's clean at that stage.
It's
isn't
clean.
it?
Yeah,
You've
so
already
you're-
cleaned it, right? So
Yeah.
you've got rid of a lot of the carbon and the dirt and the rocks and the...
Yeah. I'm more thinking like where you don't want foreign objects in like a clean process. You don't want any trimmings in the final case after you've primed it.
I thought you
or
were talking about
charged
your
it.
quarantine again. Sorry.
Yeah. That's
So I do all the trim, resize, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And then I normally just chuck them in a vibratory tumbler
Yeah.
to clean off the wax and whatever else. And then I basically end up with a bag of, I normally do it in batches. So I have a box or a bag of a couple hundred cases that are all clean, ready for primers.
Okay.
Yeah. And really, like, if you get into a good habit of doing that process as an isolated process and cleaning up after yourself, then you shouldn't have an issue. Because you've got plenty of bench space, but for myself, I'm juggling a sort of home office and reloading table. So all of my gear is in a cupboard behind me. And I pick one process, pull out what I need, do that for
Do it start to finish.
for
and then
200 cases, put that away, pull out the next process. So it's a bit frustrating, but we get there.
Yeah. You work with what you got.
That's it.
Yeah.
Probably the other thing to consider is ergonomics.
Yep.
Yep.
Because if you're going to be there for a couple of hours doing a batch of cases, you want to either be able to sit down comfortably or stand, or ideally both.
Yep.
So you can sort of keep moving around a bit. So it's about having it appropriate. Whether it's one of the work mats on the floor, like rubber mats or something like that on the ground, is quite beneficial too.
Sure. Yeah, well, I have got a rubber mat sitting there that I used to have in there, and I've got some stuff down in the warehouse of the main packing area is all sort of rubber mats. Yeah, and so I will definitely do that. But the other option there is one of those sort of I don't know what the office chairs that are like the bar stool sort of height. That something like that could be a really good option also. But then of course you sort of can't have both with that. You either go the rubber matting or you go the chair on wheels because they
don't get along very well.
Yeah. Or you have enough room to be able to kick that matting out
the way,
slide it down or something on those lines.
Yeah, we've got a little mat at work that's probably 1 metre by half metre.
Yep.
Which is pretty much like you're in one spot.
You
stand on it. Yeah,
it's easy to throw that away or aside. You might say.
Look at you, just no, this one's dirty. I stepped on it.
That's it.
I've stepped on it
in the
twice
bin
already. Yeah, new one, please. Bring it out.
More money than Badco. All right, okay. So that would be that'd be. I think there's going to be a little bit of playing around and I think having some like the dirty processes we'll call it, but putting that down one end of a bench and then having the seating down the other end of the bench makes sense. They're resizing and they're moving along the thing, and then maybe having a bit of an area where your gauges would be, because obviously mostly going to use them once everything's resized and stuff, and so we'll resize through to seating. That's when you want gauges and bits and pieces, and then powder next to that.
Yeah, I reckon it would be really awesome, like if you've got the space to have everything bolted down.
Oh, I do. Oh, I've got this.
It's got like 5.5 metres. Yeah. Sweet for space.
Like I would love to have the space where I could bolt down everything, have every process laid out, and you just go start to finish with one case, like through every process.
That'd drive you nuts.
Oh, like practically, it would be terrible.
I think he's saying like the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah, have everything
but
laid out.
to work in batches. Yeah, and that.
I'd definitely for the batches.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess I'm looking at maybe like each area is a station that does X.
Yep.
And have the privilege of not having to put all those X's into one thing. I can just a reloading room. Is there any other sort of factors that are maybe larger as working out exactly what item fits on where on the bench will come in time, but is there any other sort of larger factors as I tackle the entire room as a whole to consider?
I guess storage of your projectiles, powder, all that sort of gear. I've got an old safe that I've put shelves in. So that it was just one of those real skinny ones, and I thought, no, instead of throwing that away, I'll put shelves in it and keep that all for my little bits and pieces. Maybe
probably a fair call.
Yeah.
I do. And because I know what will happen is I'll just be like, oh yeah, no, I'll just leave them in the warehouse and grab them as need be.
Yeah.
And then I'll be at home and go, oh yeah, I'm out of projectiles. I've got a match tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I see how this problem. So yeah, I should have somewhere where I can actually keep my quantity of at home and do that. So that's a good consideration. I think under one of the benches at the moment, I've got sort of 2 racks of drawers. Under one bench at the moment, I've got some shelving that I was going to get rid of, but maybe that makes some sense. Some sort of
projectile store, projectile and cases and stuff. Like cases don't weigh much, but they're pretty bulky.
Yeah, absolutely. Put them in there. I used to keep them. I think I'm going to go back to the old system I used to run for cases, where I would have a rack of drawers, and so the top drawer would be like dirty, and the next one would be cleaned, and the next one would be deprimed. Next one would be primed, and then the following one was. No, that was where we stopped. It was primed. Yeah, but I think obviously now I've got to put the primed ones into somewhere locked. But having those sort of step by step, so you could easily see where that is. What I'll probably do though for because I'm only going to be running a handful of guns, is to keep them maybe like batch 1, batch 2 type thing, because
Makes
try
sense.
and keep them separated a little bit. So I think I shall do that and have multiple drawers and just move them down. And then that way they were removable drawers. So you grab the drawer and you can actually take that whole drawer and then go and work on that brass that was in there, which was really effective.
I think if you've got the option of having a real skinny drawer under one of your benches for all your little hand tools you might need on your service bench.
Yeah, either that or shadow board.
Shadow boards. Yeah, shadow board's pretty good.
They look pretty cool.
And the other thing to keep that I find is very helpful is if you've got multiples of the same tool, like Allen keys, for example. I've got one Allen key for every size, screw, nut, bolt, whatever fixing on each device in the box with that device.
Yep.
So I've got like 6 or 7, 3 mil Allen keys, but I've got like one with the dies, one with the turning attachments, and rather than trying to find that one Allen key that you can't remember where you put it down or where it's gone, you have it like associated with that.
Yeah, that's
piece
really
of equipment,
that's
because an Allen key is like 30 cents or $1. It's like not much money.
Yeah.
It usually comes with like a box of dies and things like that.
Some do, some do, some don't. But yeah, it's pretty handy to have the tools you need to do the modifications or adjust it, or whatever.
That was the thing I did like about having a Dillon, because I had the little Allen key rack on the back of it, which had a 10 or so of Allen keys, and they were obviously for working on the Dillon. But having those accessible pretty much all the time, anytime you need an Allen key, they were the ones I'd grab off, work on something, put it back. And because that rack was sort of sitting there ready, it was very
pretty handy.
useful. Yeah, and it was pretty central to everything. But I don't have that anymore. I haven't got the Dillon anymore. I just wasn't using much actually. So yeah. So that does lead into a little bit in terms of equipment. That's probably if that's the layouts or if the room is set up.
Yep.
That's probably sort of where I'm going to think about next.
In terms of bolting down equipment, is it really only the press you need to bolt down? The rest of it's be shuffled around a bit, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Bronte's thinking
I
through,
can't really
going
think
through.
of anything else that you'd. Really
I think
if you have one of those fancy measuring stations, you might, but
no, they don't bolt down. They're just bloody heavy.
yeah, okay. Nice big slumper cast on.
Yeah, some trimming tools and some powder throwing and stuff like that. Some of those do have bolt-on options depending which way I go with equipment. I've got a Garord, so I won't be bothering with this
your trimming needs are sorted.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So can I have that?
The case prep station you brought back, that doesn't do trimming.
What? Yeah.
Doesn't
your Garord
Chaffin de Burr?
Yeah.
It does, but it doesn't do anything with primer pockets. I'll probably keep that for primer pockets, or I'll get something different and you can borrow that one again like you have for the last 14 years or however long it's been.
Been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Call the straw.
Sorry?
Call the straw.
Yeah, I did run I ran one of them for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I just got a little Milwaukee, like one of the little 12-volt kids' toy versions. Awesome for that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And neck turning as well. That's what I use.
Yep.
It's really quite convenient.
Yeah, nice. Well, I've got a T7 press and I've got a Forster press.
Nice.
So kicking off with presses, that's where I'm going with that.
Very solid options there.
Very solid, very useful. I may get a third press. I may, one's for seating, one's for resizing, is the way I see it at the moment. Then maybe one for decapping. So I might do that in third press.
Yeah.
The dirty press.
The dirty press.
Yeah, which,
I've got
Andy
one of the
will borrow
Harvey D
on
primers
Saturdays.
that are
Sorry?
quite. I've got one of the Harvey D primers, and they're quite.
Okay.
You basically sit on the couch and
Yeah, and deprime.
deprime cases. It's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think I'm going to have to put a screen of some sort. Actually, there's a screen TV behind me that I might put into there and put on a wall mount, and that way it doesn't matter. I think that's one of the things is where if I put it on a wall mount, it doesn't matter where along the prep station I am, I can twist that TV around and have it plugged into YouTube, and away we go. Keep on watching all the tubes, not all the tubes, the YouTube. Because there's others that Andy that are a bit more connected to that he can tell you all about.
Yep.
Yep. So anyway, got to make money somehow, Andy.
That's right.
Good.
Only on a Thursday.
Okay. Well, as long as it's not a Wednesday, we're good. And so those two presses, I think, are where I'm going to start. And obviously the T7 having the all the die options on there. I have actually thought about going two T7s and having all the seating in one and resizing in another. But if you guys had could choose, would you resize with the Forster or resize with the T7 and seat with the other? Which way would you go?
I'd be inclined to do everything on the Forster personally.
Okay. Yep.
T7s are great, but I kind of see that if I was trying to make precision ammo, I'd be probably trying to do everything on the Forster. If it was just for a club match or just shoot and burn, then T7 would be perfectly suitable. But I just think the
concentricity.
That's the one that you can get with the Forsters. About as good as it gets, pretty well.
Sure. The main reason I have something else is because I can't seat my 338 projectiles in on the Forster. It doesn't go high enough. So perhaps that answers my question. I will probably, do I use a T7 then to seat projectiles, given that I have to for the 338 anyway? Or do I use the Forster to seat?
You could always do an experiment. And
this sounds like this sounds like a much better idea for someone who's meant to spend a reasonable amount of time making content about shooting stuff. That sounds like a video topic.
Yeah. Just to test it between the two options and see
All
which
right.
gives you straighter ammo.
I
like it.
I remember seeing a YouTube clip. I think Ultimate Reloader did quite a comparison on quite a lot of presses. You know,
I remember it. Yeah,
testing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember the results, but it was a very good.
I think
video.
a fancy German one.
Yeah.
Ended up being the best option.
Yeah.
But,
that was a pretty good looking press, that one.
Well, you were the German
linear ball bearings or something like that.
Oh, she was pretty sleek. Yeah. It was sort of one of those ones that you're paying 50% more to get 30% less. But it's 30% less because it's been engineered to perfection.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of it. The 14 reloading press compared, and there was the single stage presses, and that was the Frankfurt Arsenal press, RCBS Summit, Reading, Big Boss.
But there were quite a few standouts where he got some really good results out of some
Turban
some
CNC Perazzi press. That one there, yeah. Yeah, that looks gorgeous.
Very German.
Simplistic in design.
We're skipping straight to the conclusion to try and see. Anyway, you probably actually have to watch it to get it. And, I think he did an article on it. We're just going, here we go. The full story. The full story is there. I know we've looked this up on the show before, and we were all like ogling over the German press again, and nothing has changed. And I know we talked about the results on the last episode, but that was ages ago. And because we'll get through, we'll get some guys, and welcome to the guys who have joined us recently and have gone through the entire back catalogue. And I will get a random message from someone about episode like 33. About something I mentioned there. I'm like, mate, I don't remember what happened last week. So, yeah, I get thrown by that a little bit. Anyway, so we did talk about this.
He puts out a lot of good content.
Yeah, I think just go and read it because there is no sort of direct summary of like this is the best press because you can't really do that because they're all very different and they all do different things.
It's horses for courses, really.
Very much so. Very much so. So it was good. It was good. So anyway, so I've decided that the T7 I wanted to try, and I've always been a fan of that. So that was good. And actually, one of the standouts was is that a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, that's the worst one. So the Summit. That's right. The Summit was a bit of a surprise. Presser did very well in there. And one of the Lee presses actually did all right on a couple of things, and the Forster coax was excellent for peak sizing force, whatever that has to do. Maybe I'll use it for sizing then because it won the thing. I think you're right. I think we should do do some sort of comparison, some sort of experiment between the two.
Interesting to see if you actually did get a noticeable or measurable difference between
going one way or going the reverse way. I think that is.
Because you really do got a couple of different options. You've got essentially size and seat on the T7, size and seat on the Forster. Then you've got size on the T7, seat on the Forster, and
the reverse.
So
yeah, and it would be interesting to do it across maybe 3 or 4 different calibers and see if there is any if there is a consistent result or. Nope, doesn't. Like this caliber, it always works really well with 223, and then 6mm GT always goes this way, and it's different. And then of course I'm stuck with a 338. I can't. I have to.
338. You kind of you are what you are at that point. But
yep, that's it. I'm bound by that one. So that's good. What else have I got coming? I've got a Hornady. One of the things I wanted to look at, and possibly by the time this goes out, there will be. We may have done a video on it, but. The Auto Trickler is like on the list, and Plushy was here the other week and banging on about it and telling me I have to buy one. I'm not disagreeing. I know you've got one. Have you got a V3 as well, or is it?
No, I bought mine
years ago.
3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah.
Okay, so the auto trickler setup is like it, but it's so much coin.
Yes.
Especially pimped out, it's so much coin. If you're going to buy it, you got to buy it pimped out because that's the rules. So I am going to be doing a video with Plushy about the Hornady, the new Hornady auto charge, because the old one I always had work well for me, but many people didn't have it work well. And Bronte and I were talking about it before, and we think they did a silly thing, Hornady. They shipped it with a set of instructions, but there was like this secret hidden additional set of instructions that allowed you to manipulate a lot more of the settings.
Yep.
And those ones, if you got your hands on those and applied them, it fixed heaps of the issues that people would have. But they still weren't. They were fine, but they weren't brilliant.
Yep.
And so they've released the new version, the Pro or whatever it is, and that is about $700. So about a quarter of the price of a decked out auto trickler. Yeah. And the auto trickler is going to happen at some point, no doubt. But I think Plushy and I are going to get together and we're going to run a stack of charges across the two of them and just see how close we can get, and whether or not it's a 400 in terms of speed as well. Whether it's 400% times as good. I'm using 400% rather than 4 because it makes it seem
100% bigger.
Yeah. It is. That's exactly right. So we're going to do that. That's one thing. I've got the Hornady measurement station thing. I've got a stainless steel tumbler coming as well.
Nice.
So I've got a sort of all sorts of bits and pieces now that I've been selling some guns to put on the bench. And the garrote trimmer, of course, I never sold that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yep. So concentricity gauge to go on there as well. Oh no, sorry, that's in the station. The precision measuring station thing. So, a few other bits and pieces.
What else is there? Like critical components.
Look at us go quiet for a
Dies?
I've got dies.
Got
I've already got dies. Yeah, I think I've got 2 to 3 dies still. The cartridge I'll be loading for is 2 to 3, 6 GT, and 338. That's pretty much it for the time. I'll probably still got my 308 dies there that I'll be I possibly will be using for the hunting rifle, but it's really those 3 that'll be the main ones. And even 2 to 3 may not get too much of a run very often.
You can buy cheap, good factory ammo for it. It's
it might be one of those ones where I develop a load for it for a bit of. We'll probably do some videos with it or some practice with it and that sort of thing. So to have it as an option is good. And then so there's really only 3 cartridges to set up for.
Easy.
Although I've already had quite a few guys who are like, "Oh, we'll help you set up the shed, and then we'll come and hang out there afterwards." No reason.
just accidentally bring some brass as well.
Oh, while I'm here and just hanging out, I've got some brass. I have thought about putting a couch in there in the little gap, and just if we're going to hang out,
would be good.
just
Couch and a bar fridge.
Yep. Because then it'd be a bit more fun if there's a couch there if we're dry firing, doing some practice and bits and pieces. So, yes.
It's
anyway,
good to have an audience to heckle.
So it's just like a normal match then.
Pretty much, yeah. Everyone goes there for their heckling.
Good stuff. Anyway, that's the reloading room project. So thank you for your input, gentlemen. We will see and keep people posted, and you can check out the ID, the Impact Dynamics YouTube channel on it. There will be videos going up there constantly of me putting epoxy on the floor, apparently.
Looks pretty cool.
We'll see how that goes. Excellent. Well, may the Force Restoration be with you.
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics.